afternoon, everybody. We'll call the meeting of the Governance Committee of the Mansfield Partnership Board of Directors to order. Any public comments, Cynthia?
No, we didn't receive any public comment.
Fantastic. Agenda item 3. No public. Betsy found shocked that there was no public comment.
Yeah, right.
Agenda item 3 is the approval of the November 27th, 2023 minutes, which are in your packet. If you have a chance to review them, I will take a motion to approve.
Move to approve the minutes of November 27th, 2023.
Can I have a second?
Second.
On. All in favor? Any opposed? Fantastic. Item number 4 is the application for UConn student representative discussion of renewing and new board members. Okay, so you want me to go through this outline here below in this email you sent me, Cynthia?
Yeah, everybody should have it if you want to briefly go through it. I think the key thing will be, are there other places we need to outreach to? Just kind of on the second, well, depending on your email where it is, but.
Okay.
Or I can, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, so we have 2 positions. One has to be a UConn student, the other can be any student. I know that, yes, and Cynthia's had good luck with our friends at EO Smith. I don't know if it might not make sense to hit a tech school or 2 in the area. And just in case there are any local residents, I would hate for us to name an EO Smith student after the fact and have parents of a student at a tech school wonder what the process was. So I don't know if that's as simple as going to the tech schools, or maybe the folks at EO Smith should be able to tell us what Mansfield residents are at a tech school, right?
Yeah, I would think they have a contact.
I think that.
Maybe Ron has an update.
Yeah, Ron?
Yeah, I had a quick. Maybe I missed something or was confused, but looking through the bylaws, it requires that board members be 18 and over. Does that create an issue as far as EO Smith or tech school students?
Well, that's a good catch because I did not remember that, Ron. That is a good catch.
Yeah.
We can always work to modify that bylaw relative to
it's section 3, qualifications of directors. All directors shall be at least 18 years old and individual members of the partnership in good standing.
And to modify that, Cynthia, that would be at the annual meeting. We'd have to modify that.
Yeah, we'd have to modify that at the annual
That's
meeting.
okay. So what we'll do, how about we just play it by ear? We run the application process. If we get to the point where, I mean, we can modify it either way, but I don't think that would need to stop us from opening applications. Sean?
I like it the way it's written. I mean, I might reach out to EO Smith and see how many seniors are 18, because if it's a large enough pool, I think there's an advantage to having an EO Smith student that has, I don't know, I guess is a little more mature, but has also experienced the area for a longer period of time. That said, we might lose him or her going into the college years. So
I know I was going to say, we'd probably be hard pressed to get any. I mean, how many students are actually 18 before their senior year based on our cycle? We'd be limiting ourselves to students that, yeah.
But what you could do is have it be a college student that attended EO or a local high school. It's like putting another condition on the college age student.
Or make it a bylaw that applies only to students.
Yeah,
right?
Yep, that's
I
true.
would do.
Yeah,
So would you set an age for that particular student or just,
I mean, we could certainly, if it were a high school student, we could say 17 and older or something along those lines. So again, I think there's a benefit to having a rising junior turning into a senior. And I think 17 is going to be that, 16 turning 17 is going to be that sweet spot. So, we might be able to mess around with the wording, must turn 17 during year one on the board or something along those lines. That, I mean, we're going to have an opportunity to interview these students and determine a level of maturity, and it's not, and if we don't have a candidate pool that presents a student mature enough, then we won't select one.
so we can deal with the bylaws piece
No.
at the June meeting. You want me to still go ahead and do the recruitment, right?
I think so, yeah. I think that
Okay.
I don't think there's any harm in it if we, if after I think make sure, I'm guessing that I didn't look that closely, but I'm guessing date of birth is on if it isn't on the form, make sure it is so that we know what age they are.
do we typically reach out to USG?
Yes.
Mhm. Okay. Anything else in the student rep timeline that anyone has any questions on or any concerns around? I will tell you, I hope to be really, really busy the week of April 8th. So like intensely busy collecting money. So I don't, I hope to be non-responsive that week, but I think we can work around it.
Got it.
We'll play that one by ear.
I
I know
assume everybody else gets it too.
and I know you have a vacation locked in there, so we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work around the UConn student calendar, really.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I see USG on the list now.
Yeah, I mean, I have Kyle or Rachel doing that outreach. Is that,
Yeah, that's fine.
one of you do that once we're not releasing this until the 18th of March, but
Mhm.
okay. Yeah, if there's other areas, again, I don't know all those contacts that Prabhas did. I mean, I can figure it out, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
we have contacts for all those, so that's not a problem.
Okay.
Yep.
Cynthia, how old was Prabhas when he first got involved with us? Do you remember?
He could have been 18, 19. Yeah, he
Yeah,
was a
was he?
freshman. He was a rising sophomore, if I
He was
recall.
in college, right?
Yeah, he was in college. He
Okay.
went to EO, so
I
that
was
was like
thinking
that
it was
nice.
high school. He
Yeah,
was so good.
yep, he was.
Oh, God, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I think we're good on that, right, Cynthia?
Well, just a quick update on the board member piece.
Mm.
So I might have reported that I don't think I did. Maybe I think it was an email. So Mario and Steve have agreed to have their names put back into election. Sean has agreed pending president's appointment to be reappointed. And so my understanding is that Kara and Frank will be going off. And so my understanding is Kara will be following up with Nathan first on those appointments.
talked to Kara about that today too, so.
And I think that, I mean, we still, we still have 3 openings potentially. What we might want to do is we've talked about moving more people onto the festival, including some business members. So that may be a good way to start grooming, for lack of a better word, people that might want to eventually come on the board. I know that's been a good way to sort of bring people onto the board.
Hmm.
Yep. Okay. Any questions regarding that piece of it, board membership, etc.? Perfect. All right. Next agenda item, number 5 is review of board member expectations, board involvement option forms. That was something we covered in the last meeting as well. And we asked that everybody take a chance to, or take a minute to review. Does anyone have anything that they would like to share off of those forms?
Only that I couldn't think of anything I would add to them or do differently.
Cynthia, anything else you needed to?
No, it's just a, annual check-in. So, we can just assume that there's no changes there and go from there. I didn't hear from anybody that's not here.
Okay. Great. Okay, next, review the bylaws, which are also in the packet. And obviously we essentially make that that change on the age. It's a good note to make. Anything else from anybody's standpoint or from yours, Cynthia?
Well, I put in the email, we talked about this, I think, at the last meeting that, sometimes it's a little close on whether we have 25 people at the annual meeting. So I guess there's a question, I think we had talked about this previously, whether that should be changed.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Has it ever been an issue?
No, but I do count heads. No, we've always had 25. So maybe it's just continuing to push people to make sure we have enough people there.
Other than making changes as needed in the bylaws, is there any kind of statutory thing that must be done at the annual meeting?
So need to elect directors.
Yeah.
That's really the main thing. Approve the minutes from the last meeting. Listen, I'm probably forgetting something. The officers are all appointed by the board, so that's not a membership responsibility.
Cynthia, I had a question about something that was on the email you sent us on the 20th. And that is, and I'm just curious. It says on the first page, Monday, April 8th, it says what you do. And it says must be done with no discussion by the committee.
So if there's back and forth with committee members, that can be considered a meeting, which means that you have to have minutes and it's an official meeting and needs to be.
Okay. I see.
So the way we've done this with various things is if there's input, it just comes to me and then I consolidate the input.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I should have been more clear there. So thanks for mentioning it. Wow, I think Sean had a, he's,
Hi, Sean.
oh, did you see him? Okay.
I thought he was waving at me.
Okay.
Well, I am, but yes, so section 11. For consideration, I'd ask that the treasurer be obligated in some way to attend finance meetings. I think in order to, the treasurer may be required to provide general oversight of employees and agents of the partnership who shall, A through G. I think contextually it'd be good to have the treasurer be part of the finance committee in order to be able to provide that type of oversight.
I agree. Most other boards and committees I've served on, the treasurer is always a member of the finance committee, because then if you have questions, you don't have to wait to get answers back. The person usually is right there.
Anything else? We're gonna cover this in the board meeting, Cynthia, to get input on the like, do we take any input from the general board membership on bylaws? Or just discuss the ones that were,
Well, generally we have them come to the board and then we have to send them out 45 days before the annual meeting to the membership. So we probably wouldn't do it necessarily for this board meeting. I'd rather have John Zaccaro work with me to make the changes first,
um,
if
Can I
I'm
ask-
remembering correctly.
can I ask if that, so the 45 days, is that a state statute?
That's our bylaws requirement.
So we can change that to 45 days is a lot. Like I'm just, it gives us a little bit of flexibility, I think.
Mhm.
So, perhaps we could, rather than, because 45 days basically puts us at, what is that? That's got to be the April board meeting then?
Mhm.
Yeah, I would have time after the April board meeting to do it. I would have 45 days, especially if our annual meeting is going to be June 27th, which we're going to talk about next. So it hasn't been an issue, but we could, I mean, if we're going to go ahead and do bylaws changes, I mean, we didn't do any changes last year. We did the year before. I think if we're going to do some, we should not go back again next year to do another bylaw. I mean, I just don't want to be coming every year to do bylaws would be my opinion.
Cynthia, did you have a chance to speak to Sarah Ann Chain about town council members and their terms?
Yes, I did.
What's her view?
So let me make sure I've got this right, because this was back in December when I had this conversation with her. So, she said if a person is a town council member and they lose, she thought they can still stay on the board if they get reappointed.
They'd still have to be reappointed by the mayor, even though they're no longer on the town council.
Yeah, by the council, the whole council,
Oh,
not
okay,
just the mayor.
okay.
Yep.
And they would be representing the council?
That's a good question.
Hmm. I could understand if they were a good board member and we slid them into a position that wasn't a council position. But if they're representing the town council, it seems to me that they should be a part of town council meetings.
Well,
So
the
we
town-
have, like, Steve Farino is a town council position.
Mhm.
Is that right? Yes.
But we're only talking about town council members. We're not talking about town council appointees,
Yep.
unless they're a town council member. What's the downside of not permitting a town council member to have their term expire if they're not a member of the town council?
Well, in theory, somebody repudiated by the voters remaining on the board as the representative of the council would be,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah.
A little,
Plus, it doesn't prevent the town council from reappointing that person
Hmm.
to the board, even though they're no longer a town council member.
So that position does not have to be a council member?
That's correct.
Okay.
So what makes somebody the appropriate representative of the town council is that they're appointed by the town council, not whether or not they're a member of the council themselves or whether or not they've been voted by the public. They're just clearly, so somebody who is on as a council appointee and then leaves the council for whatever reason could be reappointed by the council. And then they would still be clearly a representative of the council.
Yeah, I can certainly see that distinction of appointed by council and not having to be a council member. As long as there's a process for the council to reappoint or revoke the same without it being a town council person.
I don't remember whether we as the council appointed people for a fixed term to this board or not.
I think so.
So yes, in the past, Ron, I think something got confused, I guess I'll use that word, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
My understanding is that no appointees have come before the council yet from the last election either. Is that correct? I think that's
I have no memory of that.
yeah. So my understanding from Sarah, I mean, I know we're kind of going off on a tangent here a little bit, but there have been no appointments to like the partnership.
Mm-hmm.
And again, my understanding from Sarah Ann that they, in the past, I think they have been for that 3-year term, but it's a little unclear to me because of the fact that somebody could lose if it's a council appointee who is a counselor. It needs to be reviewed every year. And I don't believe that's happened yet.
Not to my knowledge. We're appointing somebody tonight to the Mansfield Discovery Depot, a council appointee to that. And it was just something that we didn't realize we had to do by a vote of the council, so we're doing it that way.
Because isn't there typically like a slate that comes before the council?
Yeah.
And I don't believe that's happened yet this year.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, the bylaws really is just one sentence. So I guess there's a question whether that would need to be revised. So right now it just says up to 3 directors may be appointed by the town council of Mansfield, Connecticut.
That does not include the mayor?
No, the mayor's ex officio.
So there could, in theory, be 4. Well, there could be an infinite number because like myself, people could be elected independent of their membership on the council.
Right, and just like UConn, we have 3 UConn appointees and then the president's designee, and then there could be other,
Yeah.
people that work at UConn that are on the board.
Hmm.
I mean, we have, I'm just trying to see, I mean, we have some time, but it is getting a little tight if we wanted to. So our next meeting is the 22nd, which is when we would have these interviews also. If we wanted to, well, wait, no, I'm sorry, March. Right. So we have the March 25th Governance Committee meeting, and then we would have a board meeting on the 4th. So if we wanted to, I could work with John Zaccaro on some of these proposed changes and bring them to the committee in March. I think there's time. And I don't know, Steve, if you and I want to work together, if that's something that people feel should be changed or,
Well, I have another thought.
okay.
And Ron, you may want to chime in on this. When the town council appoints a member of the town council to the board, can it be specified that it's for their term in office?
I don't see why that could not be done. Keep talking. I'm just going to look at what we're
Yep.
doing in the Discovery Depot. Just one second.
The benefit of that is we don't need to change our bylaws.
Yeah.
And it's clear to the town council member that their term on the Mansfield Downtown Partnership Board is only while they are a member of the town council.
What we're doing tonight is appointing one of our members, Carlita Cotton, to the Discovery Depot, quote, for an indefinite term, unquote. But we don't have to do that. We could, as you suggest, make it for a term contiguous with their service on the council.
And if that's done, then we don't have to amend our bylaws.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Might be the easiest way to deal with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cynthia, you just have to coordinate with the mayor to make sure that the mayor understands that the appointment to the MDP board, if it happens to be a town council member, is for a period of time that they're on the
On the council.
on the council.
And if it's not a council member?
Then their term is for 3 years. True, Cynthia?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I put that down on my follow-up list. So I just wanted to go back on the 45-day notice. Is that something that we want to look to change?
Yeah, I feel like there's maybe a small element of that that is US mail related. So, I mean, it's not.
Saying extend it then?
I think he wants it shorter, right, Kyle?
I don't think it's I think whatever the time period would be that would allow, if we're gonna have a June annual meeting, we should be able to address the bylaws through the May meeting and then close the book on them. And so whatever that number is, if that's 25 days, if that's, in this particular year, if we're going to have the annual meeting later in June, it's going to be over 30 days, but it's still, it won't be a month and a half. It'll be, I think a month is more than fair, especially when we're dealing with literally 25 or 30 people that are going to show up at the meeting. We can almost hand deliver to those 25 people. I just want to provide us with enough flexibility to. adjust and not be in a crunch.
Okay, like I
Does
said,
that
I'll,
work for you?
what's that?
Does that work for you?
Yeah, I'll mark this up. I'll share it with our attorney, John Zaccaro, on the 4 different things we talked about. And then I think the committee would have time to make a final recommendation. Of course, any of these things won't go into effect until after the annual meeting, but after they're voted on.
Okay, so nothing else on the bylaws? Okay, so next item on the agenda is a review of annual meeting date and location.
Yeah, so the business and property owner engagement working group has talked about the annual meeting, and one of the suggestions was to try to do it at the same date as one of our events. So one thing that was discussed, I wasn't at that last meeting, was to try to do it potentially on June 27th, which is the night of one of the concerts. And one idea was to do it at Huskies. As in, you know, they will be open by then. So we have kind of our business meeting, maybe in one of the back rooms, have some food, and then encourage people to go to the concert.
I like the idea of it being downtown. And on that night, it reminds me, what is the current status of the Spartan Museum? Has that been finished?
Well, as a matter of fact, Elias called me a couple weeks ago, and he wants, I don't know if it's finished, Sean, I guess, to answer your question. He thinks it's going to be finished by the time of the festival, or way before that. So he wants to potentially do something the same day as the festival, which is September 28th, or on that Sunday.
And does he differentiate between the amphitheater and the museum, or does he
Yes,
count it all as, oh, he does, okay.
I think
So
he does. I think
is
he
it possible that one could be finished before the other and still be an opportunity, or would he prefer that they both be substantially complete?
I don't know.
Okay,
The amphitheater is pretty close to being done.
yeah.
There's so many delays on that project that I wouldn't want to schedule anything,
Yeah,
to be perfectly honest.
I get it. And part of I asked for that reason, and if there's any opportunity in the future to host a concert in the early days of it.
Mm-hmm.
It could be an interesting place to move a concert to, for one, help
Yeah,
each other.
yeah, that would be very cool. Definitely. I mean, he's a great partner. And he's very interested in the whole cultural district idea. So yeah, I think that would be pretty cool. So do you all want me to move ahead and approach Dan and Will from Huskies?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cynthia, do you have any concern that if it's on a same day as a concert, that it'll affect your 25 minimum quorum?
Well, I think if we do it as sort of a partnering, so come to the meeting at 6 and then enjoy the concert. I think if we start it early enough, it's like 5:30 or 6, and the concert doesn't start till 6:30. I think it'll be okay.
Well, we can't overlap. We need to make sure that
Right.
the meeting is, if that concert needs to start later, we'll have it start later, but yeah. Whatever we need to do to coordinate that.
And it's still an open-ended question, right? Whether we change the 25. I'm not sure if we came to a conclusion on that. Or was,
I think it's you know, that's up to you. If you don't think, if we haven't had a problem where we don't have a quorum, then. But we could also make it whatever. It doesn't.
Let me check I have all the attendance lists, so let me double check the list again.
Mhm.
Another option if things don't work out. I noticed that Spring Hill Inn will be opening up or reopening a restaurant in the near future. And they used to come to our annual meeting. I'm not sure if it's the same owners. But that could be a nice space outdoors for a lawn event or a meeting out on the patio.
What was this? Which one?
Spring Hill Inn.
Yeah, I saw that they're gonna open again.
Yeah, it's the former owner of Kathmandu Kitchen. So, yeah, Kathleen has been in touch with them, but yeah, that's a possibility. I mean, we used to, way back when, do the wine event
Mhm.
the Friday before that, and then we had the fireworks, and then we had the festival. So I think that's how it went. Back when it was the Alton Bank.
Fireworks. Really?
You knew that.
Why did that stop?
When it became cost prohibitive for the town to
Mhm.
have a bunch of DEP people there.
Oh,
Because that was really a town project, not a partnership one.
gotcha. Thank you.
Because it was down at the Mansfield Hollow.
Yeah. We didn't do that for very long either, did we?
I think it was like 2 or 3 years.
Was it?
Maybe.
Okay.
I think so. At least 2. I
A
think maybe
couple, yeah.
3.
Okay.
Okay, so we're all set on that. So next on the agenda, Cynthia, any updates on action plan, working groups?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things that, well, at some point, Kyle and Sean and I will get together and talk a little bit more about the strategic plan and where we are. And we'll talk about that briefly at the executive committee meeting next week. I told Sean we do have the umbrellas in, and Magdalena and I need to open the boxes and check them out. We're having some issues with the tables and chairs in terms of the company's policy versus the town policy on when people get paid. So I'm hoping our finance director, she's trying to work that through, because we're really not supposed to pay until we receive, or at least only pay half. So that's become a bit of a ongoing issue. So I'll be sending out to the Promotion Public Spaces Working Group an update on some storefront activation, and a regional group that was here this past weekend that's going to be doing some promotion. So I can send that to the whole board. We will have a mural as of potentially this weekend in front of Nash Zimmer, which is kind of a spring. And Sean, taking your suggestion, Jillian will have some information on the different trails that are nearby, because you had suggested maybe it be wayfinding. So so that's good. And then she's working with some students on some of the other storefronts that are waiting to be filled. You probably heard about the flea market, some of you, this weekend, that was put on by a UConn student on the square. Pretty successful event. He's approached us about doing it again in April. So we're looking to help him with that in mid-April, probably.
Great. Anything else? All good, Cynthia?
I think so. Yeah. I think that was everything.
Move to adjourn? That-
Second,
I'm so, oh, Ron.
Ron is the second. All in favor? Fantastic.
Ron, you and I are getting good at this.
Yeah.
You are. The important part, adjourning.
Yeah.
All right, great. Well, thanks, Cynthia. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch.
Yep.
Have a good
Good,
night.
everyone.
Night.
Take care.
Bye-bye.